This is Sig P365 XL with SAS grip versus Springfield Hellcat RDP. Oh, forgot our magazines. Always helps if you have your magazines for your firearm. They tend to work more effectively when they are loaded with ammunition and you have the magazines. Today, we are revisiting the Sig P365 versus the Hellcat RDP. Now, one thing you'll notice right off the bat is that my P365 XL, I have put the SAS grip off my P365 SAS because it has the Hogue grip on it. And I happen to have the Hogue grip also on my RDP. And conveniently enough, that makes them more similar in size than if I had the XL grip. Trying to give a sort of an apples to apples comparison today. For our first magazines, I will shoot a 10-round magazine and then a 15-round magazine from the P365, and then an 11-round magazine and 15-round magazine from our RDP. Let's see if that one round of difference translates to more hits on our gongs today. For the first 10-round magazine from each firearm, I will shoot at the 12-inch gong that is set up at probably 14 yards out there. Starting with the Sig P365, here we go. Okay, I can't really hear the gong getting hit, though obviously from the paint marring, I can tell that it was hit. And I could also see the water splashing up from the melted snow / rain that we've been getting here the last couple days. Let's do the 15-round magazine from each firearm at our right-hand silhouette target, aiming at the center mass on that target. That's probably at about 15 yards. Here we go. Okay, I'm a little low of the clacker. It looks like the majority of my hits are on the steel target, maybe all of them. Let's do the last 5 of each magazine at the cranium zone. Here we go. That sounds like a shop that used to be at the mall. The Cranium Zone by Discovery Channel. Probably one of those channels one of those stores all the kids hung out at and no one ever bought squat, which is why they're not around anymore. Okay, apparently my counting sucks. That's empty, right? Yeah, okay. So, now the Hellcat RDP. Here we go. First 10 of the Hellcat. Same thing at the 12-inch gong in the center. Let's see if we can put as many hits on it as we did with the Sig. Okay, I heard the steel ring at least a few times. The paint looks a little more marred, so we must have put a few hits on there. Here we go. 15 at our gong silhouette. First 10 will be at the center mass clacker. Last 5 will be at the cranium clacker. I think my first shot with the Hellcat was far to the left, and it hit the pistol tree, the bottom target on the pistol tree. Anyway, here we go. Hey. Feel like we were maybe around the shoulder zone with those last 5. I could hear the target rocking. I guess we shouldn't come and knocking. Let's reload and see how we can do with a second set of magazines. The Sig P365 XL with the SAS grip is a striker-fired, micro-compact, double-stacked magazine-fed pistol chambered in 9mm Luger. With the SAS grip, it has an overall length of 5.8 inches, height of 4.3 inches, width of 1 inch, and weighs in around 20.7 ounces when unloaded. The firearm has a Sig curved trigger, a thumb safety is available, it has a 3.7-inch carbon steel barrel. For sights, it has the Sig 3-dot night sight setup. It is optics ready with a cut designed by Zev. The Sig curved trigger on my SAS grip has no trigger shoe safety and has a trigger pull weight off my gauge around 4 pounds, 1 ounce. The P365 XL slide we have here today is one of the original version, which came with the Sig X5 X-Ray 3 tritium night sights. The original P365 XL had an optics cut designed by Zev. It was a very clean setup. The cover plate was integrated in with the rear sight, with the screws accessed on the underside of the slide. However, as a downside, you lost the rear sight when you mounted a optic to the firearm. With the SAS grip on this P365, the available magazines you can use are the 10-round, 12-round, 15-round, 17-round, and even 21-round magazine. The range went cold on us there for a minute. Luckily, we hadn't fired any magazines yet. Okay. We are going to do... Oh, better out than in, I always say. We are going to do 2 magazines from each firearm again, with the same loading, a 10-round magazine and a 15-round magazine from the P365, the 15-round magazine and the 11-round magazine from the Hellcat RDP. All of the ammo that we're firing today is Remington UMC 115 grain. That's out of the bullet bucket. Let's start with the Hellcat first. We'll do the same thing. The first 10 rounds I will do at the 12-inch gong. That's at about 14 and a half yards. The 15-round magazines from each firearm, instead of shooting at the silhouette target, we'll aim at the pistol tree. Now, the bottom target on the pistol tree, when it swings back, if we manage to put a hit on the bottom one and it swings back to the right side, it may be partially covered up by the 12-inch gong, which adds a little challenge to it. We'll see if maybe the Hellcat can make it more challenging on the P365 in that regard. Here we go. First 11 here at our 12-inch gong. You may notice I have the 360 camera recording on the right side. I have it in high speed mode. We're going to try to get a slow-mo of the recoil difference between these two firearms, if such a thing can be done. One of our pseudo-scientific tests. Here we go. Yeah, I feel like all 11 of those were on the gong. I saw a lot of water splashing out there. We'll have to confirm on target cam. Okay, I am going to do the first 8 at the top swinger on the pistol tree. The last 7 we'll do at the bottom swinging target on the pistol tree. Here we go. Yeah, I think we're far to the left, maybe. Here we go. Bottom swinging target now. Okay. Put 1 hit on the pistol tree with the Hellcat. That's me. Pretty unspectacular. Let's see if when we get there, the Sig can do any better. These first 10, again, are going to be at that 12-inch gong. Okay, the Hellcat, even with its 1-round advantage, if we subtract that, we might have put more hits on the gong than we did with the P365. Same as before, 8 at the top swinging, 8 at the top swinging target on the pistol tree, then 7 at the bottom, and probably a quarter of that bottom target is covered up by the 12-inch gong, which adds a little bit of challenge. Thanks to the Hellcat. Here we go. Okay, 2 hits on the top clacker. So far, the Sig is in the lead. Let's see if we can put a hit on the bottom one now. Survey says, nay, nay. The Springfield Hellcat RDP is a striker-fired, micro-compact, double-stack magazine-fed pistol chambered in 9mm Luger. It has a length of 7 inches, height of 4 inches, width of 1 inch, and weighs in at 19.3 ounces unloaded. This firearm has the Gen 2 flat-face trigger. A thumb safety is available. The barrel is 3.8 inches long, and for sights, it has a tritium front sight with a U-notch rear sight. It is optics ready with the Shield RMS footprint. The Gen 2 flat-face trigger on this firearm does have a trigger shoe safety. Off my gauge, the trigger pull weight comes in at approximately 6 pounds. Here we can see the tritium front sight and the U-notch rear sight that come with the Hellcat RDP. For the optics cut, it's not quite as clean looking as that cut designed by Zev on the P365, though it is easier to work on with the access screws on top of the mounting plate. You also retain your rear sight when you have an optics mounted to the firearm. It has the Shield RMS footprint for the optics footprint. One feature my RDP has that the XL does not have, at least my version, is the compensator. The Springfield Hellcat RDP comes with Springfield's auto-indexing compensator. You don't need any tools to install or uninstall the compensator. For magazines, the Hellcat can use 10, 11, 13, 15, and 17 round magazines. As far as I can tell, as of the time of this video's creation,
Hellcat does not have a 21 round magazine to compete with the Sig.
As a final test for our two firearms today, I have loaded the 15 round magazines to full capacity. We are going to take 15 shots with each at the cranium clacker on the silhouette target. We're only going to count the hits that make that cranium clacker clack, and we're going to see which firearm has the advantage today. Here we go. Starting with the Sig P365 this time. Uh-oh. Okay, we broke the target. So we're going to have to go to the top swinging target on the pistol tree. Here we go. What the hell? Okay. For a minute there, I had that thing. I don't know how the hell I put that hit on the bottom. I was trying to load the Hellcat with an empty Sig magazine. Here we go. Let's see if we can put some hits on that top clacker with the Hellcat. Okay. I'm glad at least with the last round I put another hit on there. Always nice when you finish the day putting a hit on your target. Giggity.
With both these firearms targeting the consumer looking for a micro compact double stack magazine fed 9mm pistol, there are quite a few similarities, so let's break down the major differences. The P365 XL has a 3.7 inch barrel compared to a 3.8 inch barrel of the Hellcat RDP. The P365 has the 3-dot tritium night sight system compared to a tritium front sight with a U-notch rear sight on the RDP. The P365 XL has an RMS-C footprint compared to the Shield RMS footprint on the RDP. On the P365 XL, at least the earlier generations like mine, you lose the rear sight when you have an optic attached, whereas on the RDP, you retain a rear sight when you have the optic attached. And when field stripping the P365, you do not need to pull the trigger, whereas on the RDP, to field strip, you do need to pull the trigger. The biggest difference between these two firearms is what is legally considered the firearm and what that affords. The P365, the fire control unit, is legally the firearm, whereas on the Hellcat, your lower grip frame is legally considered the firearm. With the fire control unit being legally the firearm on the P365, not only can you easily change between different grip modules like we saw here today, where instead of using the XL grip, I'm using the SAS grip, but you can also switch to another caliber, like the popular on this channel, 380 ACP. One question many people might have is, does the compensator make a difference? When I purchased my Sig P365 XL, Sig did not have a compensator edition available, though in the last couple years they've added multiple compensator 365s. Let's now do that super pseudo-scientific test to see if we can see if that compensator makes any difference. While I don't notice any difference in the felt recoil between these two firearms, what I will say after reviewing the footage that's obvious when it's slowed down is, in my opinion, the Hellcat RDP recovers faster from that recoil, enabling you to get back on your target fractionally faster compared to the Sig P365 XL.
As we dive into the final thoughts of today's video, I think we can safely say that both the Sig P365 XL and the Hellcat RDP are excellent pistols for home defense and personal protection, though there are some differences between them. Some people will see those differences as subtle, things like the difference between the tritium front sight with a U-notch rear versus the 3-dot tritium night sight setup, or say the presence of a trigger shoe safety versus no trigger shoe safety. However, some of those differences are more major, like the difference between the firearm being considered the fire control unit on the Sig P365 versus the lower grip frame on the Hellcat. The fire control unit being the firearm enables the Sig to be much more customizable for many people compared to the Hellcat, though there are certainly those out there who aren't interested in doing things like using a different grip frame with their personal protection pistol. To each their own. Though when it comes down to it, both these firearms are extremely reliable. I can't remember the last time I've had a failure out of either one, and they are certainly much more accurate than the shooter represented here today. If there is one area that I could potentially knock them is, at least personally, I think both firearms are a little on the snappy side, which explains why I have the Hogue grip sleeve on both of them. I find that grip sleeve helps to blunt some of that recoil and enables me to shoot the firearms without constantly adjusting my grip, which is what happens when I don't have that grip sleeve and I find the recoil to be punishing. But either way, both these firearms, like I said, are excellent firearms for personal protection and home defense. The compensator, I initially thought when I got that compensator that it didn't really add anything but cosmetics to the firearm, though after shooting it now for a couple years, I do think that it enables you to get on target fractionally faster, like we're talking splitting the hairs on seconds, compared to the firearm without the compensator, which is probably one reason why Sig has since introduced multiple different compensated versions of this P365 to match what's available on this RDP. What are your thoughts on having a compensator on your micro compact pistol? Let us know in the comments. Also, how do you feel about having a red dot on your micro compact pistol? Some people feel that adding an optic makes the pistol a little too large to be comfortably carried, though plenty of other people will counter by saying that that optic enables them to shoot much more effectively than they do with iron sights. How do you feel about that topic? Let us know in the comments. Well, anyway, that seems like the perfect spot to end today's video. If you enjoyed the presentation, like the video, share it with your friends and family, maybe even drop a comment. Those things are free and they really help the channel greatly. Fred and I really appreciate you getting this far. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day.